seen or at least know what Harry Potter is about. It's a lot of people. In a 2014 New York Times article called Can Harry Potter Change the World?, Kozlowska says that, gathering the numbers from a Facebook meme about what books have stayed with you, Harry Potter was on 21% of approximately 130,000 lists. Are fans normally geeky and introverted like most people think, or are they actually more inspired? As a avid Harry Potter fan myself, who has read each book like 6 times, I can say that it has really inspired me and become a huge part of my life. There are a lot of themes presented throughout the books through the protagonists and antagonists, one of which is discrimination. There's a group called Muggleborns who are basically wizards whose parents are non-magical, and they're often discriminated against and even called the slur Mudblood. I'm going to connect Harry Potter into real life by comparing elements of the book with how they manifest themselves in the actions of fans, including political affiliations, attitudes toward outgroups, organizations taking social action. First of all, I'm going to talk about the politics in the book. 2 of the main things involved in politics are authoritarianism and anti-violence and torture. They're discussed in a book called Harry Potter and the Millennials, published in 2013 by Gierzinski and Eddy. First of all, authoritarianism is basically the tendency to adhere to rules and in-group mindset. Basically, people who are different are bad. And this is definitely evidenced in the book through the Dursleys and Dolores Umbridge. The Dursleys are very stick to the norms, do what you want, do what you have to fit in, and Umbridge enforces really strict rules that make the lives of Hogwarts students miserable when she becomes headmaster. In the study they did, as you can see here, the Harry Potter fans who had actually read the books and read all of them were a lot more likely or less likely to show a tendency toward authoritarianism. Also, anti-violence and torture is shown. There are unforgivable curses, and since they're unforgivable, clearly they're undesirable, which are basically killing, torture, and mind control. And also, and Harry Potter fans were less likely to favor the death penalty, killing of terrorists, and the acceptance of torture. Political perspectives aren't even the only values represented by Harry Potter. Even more evident in the series are attitudes relating to groups that have faced prejudice and discrimination. Some of these groups, as you can see here, are Muggleborns, House Elves, and Goblins. House Elves are basically the slaves of the wizarding world and are treated very poorly. Goblins are considered to be inferior even though they're intellectually just as good, and Muggleborns are just considered tainted. Vasali, Stathi, Giovanni, Capozza, Trifiletti published an article in 2014 in the Journal of Applied Social Psychology called The Greatest Magic of Harry Potter, Replacing Prejudice, studying Harry Potter fans' views toward outgroups. The outgroups they studied were immigrants, homosexuals, and refugees, and in all cases they found that people who had read Harry Potter or were fans of it were more likely to have favorable views toward these outgroups. According to the study, the participants applied this enhanced ability to understand disadvantaged groups to real-world outgroup categories. While Harry Potter evidently has an effect on the way fans think about important social issues, do those ideas manifest themselves in actions as well as thoughts? Well, it turns out they do. Here are some of the organizations presented in the book to fight against some kind of oppression. And the real-world version is the Harry Potter Alliance, formed by Harry Potter fans in order to enact social justice. According to Jenkins in his 2012 journal article, Cultural Acupuncture, Fan Activism in the Harry Potter Alliance, the HPA embraces a policy of cultural acupuncture, mapping fictional content worlds onto real-world concerns. More than 100,000 members and more than 70 chapters exist in this alliance. One victory, discussed by Rosenberg in a 2015 Washington Post article called How Harry Potter Fans Won a 4-Year Fight Against Child Slavery, was a 4-year campaign for Warner Brothers to stop buying chocolate from a company with a history of child slavery and labor abuse. This is actually a letter from Warner Brothers to the president showing, hey, you won, we're going to stop buying from this company. This is a whole score of other kinds of charities and events that they've pulled. So clearly Harry Potter has had an effect on how the fans act in the real world. They have different political views that reflect those in the books, their attitudes toward outgroups are improved, and they're inspired to create organizations to really affect change in what they want to do. According to the founder of the Harry Potter Alliance, Andrew Slack, quoted in Rosenberg's article, Harry Potter represents righteousness, nobility, love, so much beauty, and a place of safety people go to, and moral authority. So it seems that Harry Potter is capable of saving not only the wizarding world, but the Muggle one as well.